Are you ready?
Ready when you are.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna play the station ID now, okay?
Who is it? A prank call?
Huh?
Prank call?
Bronco, yeah.
You gonna do your WGBB thing now?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now, okay?
All right, sounds good.
This is WGBB AM 1240 and W240 DFFM 95.9 Freeport, New York. The views expressed in the previous program.
Go on.
We're on? Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Real Estate Plate. As always, I'm your host, Nick Sakalis, coming to you live from the WGBB studios here in Merrick, New York. And it's a little bit chilly today. A little bit chilly today.
I'll put the heat on, please.
No, it's all right in here.
Oh, okay, it's all right. Okay.
But have you felt that temperature drop out of nowhere?
Of course, it was very windy.
What the hell was with the snow yesterday?
Well, last week you were bragging it was okay. Don't complain.
I'm complaining because I got the snow.
That's what you told me. He said, come on, man. Don't be complaining to the night.
Well, I am complaining now. Now I am complaining. Because what's the deal with the snow? Come on. We got through the entire month of March.
Right.
With decent weather.
Mm-hmm.
And we wait till the end just to get hit by snow again? I don't think anybody could hear you. Maybe they can, I don't know.
Can you hear me?
I could hear you now.
Oh, okay. Now, I would say, I don't know what happened, man. This is kind of ridiculous for at the end of the month to have snow and this kind of cold weather. But listen.
Do you think it's ridiculous?
It is ridiculous.
It's pretty ridiculous. But that being said, we're going to talk about other ridiculous things today, too. We're going to talk about ridiculous gas prices. We're going to talk about ridiculous interest rates. And we're going to talk about a lot of things that have been really, really getting a little bit on the nutty side. We're not going to talk about Ukraine today. That's a topic for itself. But I will say again, my thoughts and prayers are for the families that are being affected by everything, every single day over there, every second. All the lives are being lost. And I don't know how to even tackle that. You know, it's something that, you know, much more articulate people should be speaking about than me. But that being said, I'm gonna just do a couple things right now. I'm going to do a couple things just to make sure that everybody knows of how to connect with me, because I've been reading through a lot of emails and messages, and one of the biggest things that a lot of people have been asking me about are how to be able to find me on social media. So besides being able to see me on the YouTube channel, you can find me through Nick Sakalis, or if you put in the Real Estate Plate, I assure you that one or the other will drive you to my real estate channel. The other thing is you'll also be able to find me on Facebook, where I have a Facebook page under my own name, Nick Sakalis. And I also have a Facebook page for the Real Estate Plate itself. However, I've been doing not such a great job as far as uploading content on that one. I think I should be doing a better job than that. You can find me on the Sakalis group, at the Sakalis group on Instagram, and at NIKOSAK, Nick Osak, on Twitter. I think that's more than enough platforms for everybody to be able to find me on. If you want to follow stuff that I'm into and doing, you could do that there. You can also email me straight at realestateplateradio@gmail.com, and I will answer your messages. And that's one of the best possible ways that you will actually find me. If you send me emails through there, I'll be able to respond to them relatively quickly. and they won't get lost in the shuffle through other emails. If you're doing stuff where that's real estate plate related, you're better off emailing me through there and not through my business channels, because I assure you, you're going to get lost in the shuffle. So that being said, if you ever want to call in live here on the show when we're doing our regular Monday 6 to 7, you could call up 516-623-1240, 516-623-1240. That's the number here. That guy over there, Trevor, he's the guy that picks up the phones. If he doesn't like your voice, he's not going to transfer you over to me. If you say something offensive or obtrusive, he will not send it over to me. So be nice, be polite, and he'll get you on the show. I also put in a StreamYard link right here onto the chat, and you can actually click on the link, and you'll be put into a waiting room. And in between everything that I'm doing, I'll be able to get you onto the show live. Again, be very, very mindful. Look at this. Look what we're getting. We're getting very technologically advanced. You see the graphic at the bottom? I'm doing fancy stuff now. We're doing real fancy stuff. Hey, NYC guy, how are you? And we're going to actually try to utilize a lot of the different. Look at that. Look, NYC guy. Hi, Nick. We got that on the graphic. We're getting real advanced. So that being said, like I said, the StreamYard link is in there. And there's one other thing that I got multiple emails this week about, asking me. I don't know what happened. Maybe somebody saw an old video of mine or something like that, seeing me wearing the Eviction Moratorium T-shirt. It's not something I'm really promoting and pushing. I did it at that time out of frustration, and I basically made that Eviction Moratorium type of apparel that I wanted to basically have a platform to not only visually, vocally express my displeasure for what was happening, but I wanted everybody to see it right across my chest on my T-shirt and on a little hoodie that I made and all that stuff. So if you people are actually interested in getting a shirt like that or something, the link is also in the description. There you go. See, fancy graphic time. And we are, if you're bold enough to wear it the way I did, go ahead. I'm gonna start wearing them again. I don't know, because I'm still dealing with the frustration from this eviction moratorium. That's just subject for another day. House crash is near. Do you think? Well, we're gonna get into that a little bit today. And we're going to start with the rates. First of all, I want to make a point of telling everybody that I know that everybody that's going to the pump on a daily basis has been realizing that the gas has, not much, but slightly teetered downward. Slightly. Just a little bit. Just a little bit on the downward trend. Is it going to keep dropping? I don't know. But every penny that I guess I could take from it dropping, I will take it. I will take it, because it's ridiculous how much we're paying in. It's absolutely ridiculous what we're paying in gas. But as we're seeing that little dip in the gas prices, we're seeing a boost, increase in interest rates. Now, whether you're in the housing market or not, whether you're buying a house or refinancing or not, the media has been all over this for the past week and a half. they've been all over this. They've been, the media loves a horror story, and they're talking about the rates flying through the roofs right now. And I will say something. I will say something that this is going to be a bit different than what we experienced in the past, because where we are right now is well ahead of schedule. That at least what I predicted, and many other people that are much more versed in these topics than I am have predicted as well. Hey, Kelly, thanks for joining us. Hopefully, come Memorial Weekend and this summer, the prices go way up more. I'm assuming you mean by. Wait, well, I missed something. Hopefully, prices don't go up anymore. Yeah, all right, that's what I thought I missed. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope that we don't get more ridiculous. You know, it's gotten painful with the gas prices and the oil prices. Thankfully, we're getting out of the winter, and heating is not going to be as necessary as it was just a month ago. So at least from that point of view, it's a little bit better. But it's going to get expensive. It's going to get very, very expensive between where the rates are right now, even if they don't go up on the gas prices, the rates on the interest rates continue to go up. Cost of living is going up all across the board, and it's a little disheartening. So I'm being all over the place right now, and I'm trying to get myself as composed as possible because I really don't want to get into like a rant and really go off on a tangent right now. So what I was saying before is I did predict that the rates were going to go up. I did see a 5% mortgage interest rate somewhere in the future. I just didn't expect it to come in this quickly and this fiercely. I did not expect that. I can tell you this. It's a little ahead of schedule as far as how I am concerned. And now I'm gonna be cautiously saying this. We might see a little bit of a dip again before it starts jumping up again. We might, but that's going to be false hope for anybody, and anybody that's in the market that's trying to take advantage of these rates. They should once you see a little bit of a dip. But I don't have a crystal ball, and I'm going to tell everybody that's listening right now. I'm going to be very, very clear with this. I know there's people that are out there, other YouTubers, other people on Facebook Live, other people that are influencers in the real estate market, in the mortgage market, in the finance market, that are basically pulling out their crystal balls. They're basically pulling out their crystal balls, and they're saying, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, with quite vigor, and they're quite adamant about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. And I'm going to tell you something. All those people need to take their crystal balls and shatter them and throw them in the garbage, because nobody knows what they're talking about when it comes to these type of environment that we're living in right now. I'm going to be very clear with that. Anybody that's going to give you a definitive prediction of where we're going to go is, one, guessing. It might be an educated guess. It might take a little bit of the same way I make my predictions in as much of an educated way as I can, but I never say it with I never say it definitively. I just give my impression of what I think might happen. What's this? Wash hands. What's wrong with my hands? What's wrong with my hands? What's wrong with my hands? Kelly, tell me what's wrong with my hands. I don't know. Anyway, give me a little bit of understanding what's going on. My hands, they're clean. I don't know what she's talking about. For anybody that's listening on the radio, supposedly I need to wash my hands. Okay. Speaking of, okay, you just brought me into something else. I'll give you guys an update on where I am with my smoking, and then I'll get back into where we're at with the rates. Okay, so this is what's going on with me right now. Oh, clap hands. I meant clap hands. Okay. I was about to say I take a lot of efforts to try to clean my hands and be as cleanly as possible. So when I hear a comment like that, it kind of makes me like, oh, hold on a second. You guys know I'm a little bit of germaphobe when it comes to certain things. So when you tell me stuff like that, it starts making me think twice. Thank you, Kelly. I will say, I'll give you an update because we're on the hands things. So everybody knows I've been trying to quit smoking. In the best way I can. Have I been perfect? No. Have I cheated a little here and there? Yes, I have. I'm not going to lie. I have. But I've been in a really good behavior, and I'm on a really good trajectory. I'm feeling everything starting to clear out of my system. I'm feeling myself a lot healthier. I feel more energetic in the mornings. I'm grumpy as hell, but that's okay. That's a side effect that I'll deal with. Here or there, I lapse. I may steal a cigarette here or there. When I was in Atlantic City, I broke on that Saturday. When I was there, yeah, I was gonna stay smoke free in the casino environment. Go figure. That wasn't gonna happen. But for the most part, I've been in really, really good behavior, and I think I will have this kicked as soon as possible. But not a side effect of this is where we're turning around with the hands. Is I noticed something. Let me see if you can see this. You see my hands? There's no yellow marks on my fingers. It's been a long, long time that I didn't have a permanent yellow mark on my fingers on a daily basis. And I would take a shower and I would scrub it out as much as I can, and it still stay yellow. The yellowing on both hands is almost gone. So I'm really, really like that's a effect that I didn't think I would have seen for a while, but just a few weeks out, it's pretty much gone. So that's a pretty good thing. Really good thing. I know you're smiling right now. See,
In the church world, they call that a miracle.
what's that?
I said in the church world, they call that a miracle.
What, the yellow fingers?
Yeah. It just disappeared just like that. That's a miracle.
See, you could get your hands are black, so like they're brown. So you don't see the yellow stains as much as you do on my white fingers. But I'm happy.
Well, that's good.
I'm generally happy about that. You never smoked, did you? Right?
No, sir. Never liked it.
You're a smart man. See, Trevor's a man of God. He knows. He knows. He has that direct communication, and God tells him, "Don't do stupid things, Trevor. Don't do it. People need to follow you and listen to your word. How are they going to listen to you if you're sitting there smoking your brains out?" That's basically what it comes down to. So, that being said, just a slight diversion from our topic today, just giving everybody that update on the smoking and my next step into the new me, because we are creating a new me right now. Quitting the smoking, and my next step is going to be going to the gym. It's only been about 25 years since I've been to the gym. Maybe a little less. Maybe 22, 23 years since I've been to the gym. I'm going to become a healthy guy. I'm going to be that guy that stops smoking, good shape, and that kind of thing. Give myself a boost of energy, a better look, and to be able to sell real estate in a much more presentable way. And for myself, I'm getting up there in age, and I look at the mirror every day and I say to myself, I'm not a kid anymore. Why? What happened? I'm getting old. I need to look better. I need to feel better. And this is all part of me doing the whole thing with the smoking and the working out and everything. I'm the thing. And here's the thing. I know that a lot of people are into like this whole resculpting and working out kind of thing. And if everybody wants to follow my progress, or when I join the gym and my results as it's going on, let me know and I'll video document it, and I'll periodically put up a video showing you my results of losing weight and that kind of thing. I probably want to lose about 20, 30 pounds at least and turn it into muscle. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. It'll be interesting. What do we got here? NYC guy saw gas for $3.99 in Belmore. Wow. You actually saw $3.99. What have you been paying for gas, Trevor? What have you been paying for gas?
For 25 or for 35.
Well, this guy over here, NYC guy, says that $3.99 over in Belmore.
I believe it.
All right. And anybody else sees cheap gas prices and stuff like that, feel free to put it in there, because I think the public and everybody would love to hear that as well. So let's get back to the topic. I go out to these different tangents and different things, and everybody's here to talk about interest rates. So I'm gonna get into this whole thing. I slightly got into all the psychics out there, all the real estate gurus, all the people that are giving the predictions, all the fortune tellers out there with their crystal balls and telling you this is going to happen. I'm going to tell you all. Listen to me very carefully right now. Listen very, very carefully. All you people with the crystal balls, stop telling people what is going to happen. Stop saying it in a way where you're basically making them believe what you're saying, because you're giving false hope out there, or you're fear mongering, or you're doing something that is going to really, really hurt somebody in one way or the other. You can get predictions. You could turn around and tell people, well, I think this might happen for this reason, which I do that all the time. But I never tell you, no, this is going to happen, because I'll tell you something. This environment that we're in right now, I was really, really confident that we're not going to see these rate hikes to the levels that they are right in this moment. At this moment, until the end of the year, I thought we were going to get to that 4.5 range by the end of the year. I really did. And I'm shocked. I am absolutely shocked that we not only broke through that 4.5 level, we smashed through it. If anybody's been following where the interest rates are right now, last week the average rate for a mortgage on a 30-year fixed was 4.56. That's the average. Or it's 4.54, somewhere around there. At the end of the week on Friday, they got up to 4.98. Pretty much 5%. Today we're slightly lower than where we were on Friday. Slightly lower, around 4.60, right around that range. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that we're hitting these kind of numbers right now. And I'll tell you why I'm shocked, because there's still no inventory out there. People are still buying. They are still buying aggressively. So I don't know how much these rate hikes are affecting the market at this moment. At this moment right now. I'm not sure. But they are affecting us. And they will affect us dramatically going forward. if they continue this way. Time will tell. Time will tell. I assure you, time will tell where we're going to go at. So let me give everybody a firm understanding of a little bit of a lesson of supply and demand. I feel like I'm regurgitating the same stuff over and over and over again. Supply and demand. For everybody that's never taken an economics course, for everybody that's never taken a business course, for everybody that's never heard me talk about this in any way, I'm going to make it nice and simple. Supply and demand. You have X amount of a product and X amount of purchase base, people, buyers. As long as you have enough supply to satisfy the demand of those buyers, the value and the pricing of that product stays level. Now, if you have abundance of that product, oversupply of that product, but the level of buyers stays the same, then the product, in theory, the product will lower in price because it does not sell fast enough for the buyers to consume. Now, if you have the opposite, where you have too little supply, and the level of buyers stays the same, or in some cases even accelerates, now you have a situation where you have a glut of buyers trying to buy the same few products that are available. So what does that mean? Those products start to increase in appreciation and price in order to satisfy these buyers. And you do not satisfy all the buyers because you still don't have enough product. So the buyers that are going away with the product are paying much more for that product than what they did before. I hope this is not confusing. I hope this is not in any way making it difficult for anybody to understand.
You got a friendly call by the name of George. Sounds very friendly.
We got a friendly call by somebody by George. Okay.
We'll put him on.
Let's put him on. Who do we got? Who do we got here?
Hey, Nick.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Nick? I'm calling you so I wanted to get on the radio program here and discuss the interest rate thing that you're talking about.
Oh, you do? Thank
Yes.
you. Who's this, George?
George, yes.
Thank you for coming on.
No problem. So, I guess, the Fed here has really backed themselves into a corner, and there's not much they can do as far as, they can only raise the rates a certain amount, right, before they start triggering crashes and collapses and all that. They were talking months ago they're going to quit the quantitative easing, and not only they're going to stop buying $120 billion in bonds every month, but that they were going to stop and sell off what's on their books already. From, I believe, 118 billion a month, they went down to 98. They're still buying bonds. They turned around, they raised the rates by 0.25%, and it just caused havoc on the bond market. Stock market looked like it was going to take a dive. That's just at 0.25%. I think the Fed here, if they really wanted to start raising rates, if they really wanted to fight this inflation problem, they would have raised it at least 50 basis points, maybe even 1% one shot, if they were serious about fighting inflation. And the fake inflation numbers now are at almost 8%, 7%, whatever it is, right? These numbers are manipulated. They don't include housing. They don't include energy like they used to include in the 1980s. Because, the government likes to manipulate information, and that's what they're feeding us now. They're telling us that inflation is at 7%. Oh, never mind that gas is up 100%, or housing is up 30%, or rent is up 35%, right? So, I feel like the Fed has brought a pea shooter to fight a war, basically.
Well, I'm glad. I'm very happy that you actually came in here with a very educated approach on this, and I'll tell you what. Most of the people that are spewing and yelling and a lot of times when I get the messages and calls about these things, they really don't have a lot of information that they're going off of. Now, as far as this, as far as this being a situation of manipulation, everything that we've been looking at over the past 2.5 years has been a product of manipulation.
I'm happy that there's still people that believe this.
It's not a question about believing it or not. It's a factual matter because
but many people are still in their own delusional world, and they believe what information they're given. They don't actually do the research themselves.
all right. Let's look at it from you covered a lot that composes the economy that we're dealing with. A lot. I'm just going to take one little piece, just one little piece of what you were talking about, and I'll tackle the housing. Okay, over the past 2.5 years, the reason why we have a deficit of supply and demand. I'm not even getting into interest rates right now. The reason we have the deficit in supply and demand is because of all these lockdowns and quarantines that existed throughout the country. Not only here in New York, believe me, here in New York, they got a little bit aggressive with these quarantine and lockdowns. Now,
it's because it's a democratic state, so the president at the time was Republican, and they had to do what they had to do. But that's a different story. But yeah, go on.
The thing that people are not understanding is, thank you anyway. See, George does have a lot of good points. The thing that a lot of people are not understanding is that when we look at this whole broad subject, we were actually going into a slowdown into the housing situation with the real estate market prior to this happening. We were stabilizing.
Me personally, I think 2016, towards the end of 2016, that was the peak. After that, we did see a slowdown. We did see an initial small little tiny crash right when COVID hit because everybody panicked. But I think that the policy of this administration and the past administration, all the free money and all the stimulus checks and all the programs that went out, I mean, you increase the amount of money that's on the market. I mean, what did you expect was going to happen?
Well, the point
I happen to believe that this inflation was caused purposely by the government. Think about it. They're $30 trillion in debt. How do you get rid of debt faster without paying for it? Inflate it away.
No.
If $30 trillion is not worth $30 trillion in 5 years, and it's only worth 10, guess what? The government just made 2/3 profit.
Well, I'll tell you something, George. I don't know if it's a question of doing it purposely or through incompetence. And either way, I'm not. Either way, I'm not thrilled with the approach and the byproduct of it. So
Right.
if they did this with purpose to get us where we are right now, I'm not happy about that. But if it's done by incompetence, I don't know what would make me feel better. Oops, I made a mistake.
I mean, me personally, I would feel better if we knew that this was done purposely. At least we know that we have smart leaders leading this country. Because the other side would scare the hell out of me.
You give a lot of credit. You give a lot of credit to the people running upstairs. You're giving a lot of credit to them. And I'll tell you something, I don't give a lot of credit. You know, one of the few things that people got on me with this during the past couple of years, I was all over Cuomo during these times. I was all over De Blasio during these times. And a lot of people didn't want it. And a lot of people from my industry and a lot of people that worked around me and above me and that kind of thing, you know, they kind of told me, you know, you might want to taper it down, whatever the case is.
Right.
I'm at the point right now in my career where I'm going to say things the way they are, and it's not going to make everybody happy, and that's okay.
This is the reason why, and I consider myself as well. We're now considered, because I'm in my mid-40s, and we're considered dinosaurs. We are now considered dinosaurs. We are out of that whole idea of what's right, what's wrong, what you can say, what you can't say. We came from a different generation, and it makes me feel old to say it, but it's the truth.
Well, you shouldn't feel old. I mean, I'm 45 myself, and
well, you know what I mean. I don't feel like I'm 20 again, is what I'm saying.
Well, the thing is,
I feel like we're being pushed out of society because we have an opinion, and we're not, you know, lining up our ideas with everybody else's ideas.
A better word might be used.
When did it become? Yeah, when did it become a problem to disagree with somebody?
Well, I say that all the time. Where did we lose the ability and the right to agree to disagree? Right? Where did that go?
When we were growing up, when we were kids, we would agree to disagree, and then we'd shake hands and go our separate ways.
You might not like what the other person has to say, but whatever.
Yeah, but you respect it and you walk away.
That's it.
That's all.
That's it.
You don't have a meltdown on it.
you don't go just because you don't disagree. Just because you don't agree with somebody else doesn't give you the right to go and try to destroy the person economically, which is what we're seeing in a lot of cases. It's ridiculous.
Or cancel them for that matter. Go after everything that they have, basically.
By the way, driver seats, thanks for me joining in. I don't know if I'm slimming down right now, but once I get into my workouts, I guarantee you I will. You notice that a lot of Cuomo ads on YouTube is running for housing. Yeah. There's Cuomo ads all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, I'm fearful of that.
Trying to clear his name.
I'm fearful of that. I'm very, very fearful of that. Tell that to Will Smith. All right. John Rosito is always going to say something to me to get me in trouble. But, but that's...
He's on my predictions, and I don't have a crystal ball, obviously. This is not financial advice. I happen to think the stock market itself, is way overvalued. Way overvalued. As far as interest rates are concerned, I think the Fed is going to probably do half a basis point and maybe another quarter, and then they're going to start backtracking because everything's just going to fall apart. I mean, things are being held together by a thread. Believe me when I say that. Okay, we're a debt nation. All of our systems are broken, and they cannot. In order to fight 7% inflation, our prime rate has to be over 7% in order to fight it. That means that mortgages will go to 10, 11, 12%. If that happens, they're going to decimate the housing market. Correct?
Well, I don't know if he'll decimate it, and I'll tell you why. Let's look at it from this point of view. Just like the stock market that you just mentioned earlier, the housing market needs a pullback. It needs a correction.
Now, a correction is 20%.
No, not necessarily. A healthy correction could go from anywhere from 10 to 15%. Once you hit that 20% mark, you start getting into danger zone levels.
Right. Agreed.
So if we have a healthy correction of pulling back 10 to 15%, whether it's because it naturally progresses or it's because the interest rates are giving resistance to more purchasing happening and sales happening, that's okay.
Yeah.
The,
I think the problem today, the reason there isn't anybody in this world that can make a prediction today is because we've never been in this type of situation. Now, we were in inflationary positions in the 80s, but look what they did to fight that inflation, right? So we had inflation and we had stagflation throughout the 70s. And in the 80s, we had 15% mortgages, right? 18% mortgages.
yep.
So they actually had the tools to fight inflation. Now we have, I happen to think inflation is at 15%. That's a BS number, the 7 or 8%, whatever that is. But let's say we have 7% inflation. We can't raise, I mean, when we raise interest rates, the government has to pay interest on their debt as well. Do you think the government wants to pay 7, 8% on their debt?
Absolutely not.
They can't pay their debt now. They can barely make the payments on the 30 trillion now.
Absolutely not. And I'll tell you something else. If they actually do give us the real numbers, you know what would have to happen? You know that money, that money that you have stashed away in your bank accounts and in your savings accounts or money market accounts, it would have to accrue some interest, not 0.0021 interest. You would actually have to get some interest back on them. They don't want to do that.
On that point, Nick, I want to add, the reason for taking housing and energy out of the inflation equation is because they were having a hard time paying out Social Security. Social Security was going bankrupt. This is the reason why, I believe it was the early 2000s, they removed housing and energy because of the COLA payments, cost of living adjustments. They did not want to pay higher COLA payments to retired people because Social Security was already in trouble. So you see how the government, when it does it, it's not in their best interest to show you something. They just remove something from it, manipulate it in a certain way, and put it on a different dish and tell you it's something different. You understand? It's very manipulative, and it's the corruption is unbelievable. Me personally, I think housing prices are going to continue to go up, Nick, because inflation is going to continue to go up. People need a store of value, and the only place that you can store value right now is in real estate, right? And my personal opinion is gold, platinum, silver, palladium, precious metals. They're way undervalued.
Well, I think you have to be careful with that, and I'll tell you why. For some of the precious metals that do have other intrinsic value of practical use, I would agree.
Yes, like silver. Silver has
and so does gold.
Yeah, it has an industrial. 60% of all silver is used in industry. So it's not only a store of value, but it's something that they need. And with the Democrats pushing this green agenda, solar panels, electric vehicles, it's just going to be used up at some point. They're not going to have enough.
No, absolutely. There's going to be a necessary need to that, but I also tell everybody to be very careful as far as how much they get involved in those type of commodities. Now, as far as the housing is concerned, what I was going to actually jump into prior to you calling up is that I do foresee the housing prices to continue to escalate, at least for the short term. Unless these rates continue to hike up, if we hit 6% next week or 2 weeks, you're going to see a halt. You're going to see a stop.
There's a slowdown already. I mean,
yes and no. And I'll tell you something. The media is not going to catch up with it. The media is. What area are you out of, by the way?
I'm in Queens, New York.
You're in Queens. What part of Queens?
East Elmhurst area, like right by LaGuardia.
Right by Astoria and that whole area, right?
Yeah, it's still very, very hot market here. Everything sells within.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're not going to have any resistance there unless the rates start going through the roof, and the actual cash dries up. Because don't forget, there's a lot of cash supply still out there.
Yep.
There is still a lot of that. So my point on that is, unless we see a super dramatic hike over the next couple of weeks again in rates, which I don't see that happening that aggressively over the next week, the amount of inventory is not going to catch up still. It's not. Right. And the other thing is the media has a real problem of catching up with what's actually happening on the ground. And I'll tell you why. Right now, you're going to see a lot of closings continue to happen over the next few weeks going into the next month. Why? Because those are all closings of deals that were locked in already, and they have their rate locks on the previous lower rates. So,
right. So what you're saying is you're going to see the real numbers in a month or two from now, when all those 60-day closing, all those 60-day locking periods are over.
Correct. If not for a 90-day cycle, to be quite honest with you, because you have a lot of people that are also going to be extending their rate locks, and they do have the rights. I have multiple deals right now that are in place with people that are sub 3.
Wow.
Sub 3 still. So we're talking about situations where people are still taking advantage of the lower rates that existed, and the media, just as always, they're not going to catch up with it. And then all of a sudden, when the real numbers and the real feel from the streets actually hit us, they're going to start saying the sky is falling and Chicken Little is going to be running around with his head cut off. And that's what's going to happen. I can assure you with that. NYC guy, the Fed will keep printing until they are prepared for the demolition of the market, then say, gee, I did not see that coming. Yeah, well, it sounds along the lines of a lot of the stuff that we do.
Nick, I want to leave you with one thought that some old timer had told me once, and it's a good phrase, and it stuck with me for many years. He told me, "Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait." It's one of my favorite sayings, and I just wanted to put it out there on your show, being that it's a real estate show, and if everybody needs a place to live, when you're ready and you have the right amount of money to put down and you're comfortable with the payment, go ahead and pull the trigger and don't worry about everything else is what I think the right thing to do is.
I love that line you just gave me. I absolutely love it, and
it's stuck with me for many years.
I'm apologizing right now because I'm going to steal it. I'm going to keep that going forward.
Oh yeah. That's what it's there for. It's there for everybody to steal it.
I might have to make that the quote of the week.
There you go. Okay, Nick. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for jumping on.
Great job with the show, buddy.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Well, I thank George for joining us today. That was a nice conversation, and it was very welcome, actually. Extremely, extremely welcome having somebody that actually knows what they're talking about that were calling me up. It's fun to talk to ignorant people that are just like spewing things left and right, but it's also really, really gratifying to having a healthy, open conversation with somebody that actually is informed and pre-educated. Yeah, Kelly, I find that really funny too. NYC guy is a funny guy, but great quote. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. Really, really good line. I appreciate that line very much. And I will, George. I'm sorry, I'm stealing that line. That is a really, really good one. Trevor, keep that one in the back of your mind because it makes a lot of sense. But got into that conversation, went a little deeper into the show than I expected. I didn't expect to have a long radio call on today, but I don't have any regrets about it. It was actually a good call, and I was happy to have him on. But
So to make that show, they got listeners all over the place.
That ought to make you feel good.
what's that? Say that again.
I said that should make you feel good. You got listeners all over the place, all the way over in Queens. That's all right.
Oh yeah, we got people in Queens, we got people in Suffolk and Nassau, Westchester. Believe in Westchester too. You know? Every time there's a person out there that's bored, that has nothing else to listen to, and wants something to put them to sleep, they're gonna put my show on. I can assure you that. Yeah, I can assure you, where there's a person that desperately needs uh, a natural sleeping pill, they're gonna put on my show and listen. No, that's how it usually works. They love to revise the number every month. Yeah, they do love to revise the numbers every month. And I'll tell you something with this, and this is something that I have personal knowledge of and understanding, because a lot of times I get calls from writers on different platforms, magazines, newspapers, that kind of thing, and they take quotes and they take a feel of the street kind of a thing on real estate. And a lot of times they don't have a general feel of what's going on. They really don't. Same way we were dealing with the eviction moratorium. Nobody was catching up. First of all, it wasn't this sexy story. Nobody wanted to take the angle of how the landlords were being beaten up during that time. So they didn't want to take the effort to work an angle in a story more than anybody else. But when I would tell them what's going on, they would take a different approach about it. And it takes a while for the news outlets to catch up. It's not by intent. It just, they're not on the ground. Then they're not necessarily seeing on a day-to-day basis how things are changing. And I promise you, I assure you that things are changing on a daily basis. For better or for worse, they are changing. And it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to be a roller coaster. We're in March right now. At the end of March, we've officially finished the first quarter of the year. Basically, we're going to have a roller coaster. And strap on, put on your safety harnesses. I'm going to go on that roller coaster with you all throughout the year, and I'm going to give you all the ups and downs that we're going to see, because there are a lot of things that we're going to have to cover. And I'm just going to point out one other thing right now. I don't know if it's by coincidence or if it's with purpose or malice of how these rates are going up. Coincidentally, there are a lot of properties, commercial properties, residential properties, multifamily properties that are on ARMs, 5-year ARMs, 3-year ARMs, 7-year ARMs. Most of them 3-year ARMs we're looking at right now, that are coming up or have come up over the past couple of weeks. And they're going to be adjusted. That's what an ARM is, adjustable rate mortgage. They're going to be adjusted to these new rates. What is that going to do to a landlord that has already been decimated, for the past 3 years without any income, and they're still in the courts right now dealing with trying to do evictions on non-paying deadbeat tenants? Yes, I did say deadbeat. Sorry, guys. Because right now we're past the point of people being heard or whatever the case economically. Now we're at the point where we're weeding out the people that are really being affected and the people that are really taking advantage of the system. And what's happening is the people that are still in those battles right now with no income still coming in and only expenses being poured out, now their interest rates are hiking up. So, Harriet, if you're listening, Harriet, I'm gonna say this for you, because you always tell me give people a solution. Here's a really nice healthy solution for everybody. The same way they did a eviction moratorium and a halt on all evictions for non-payments, regardless of the reasons why those non-payments were coming in, why don't they do a halt or a freeze on any rates that are needing to be adjusted at this moment on properties by landlords that are not getting payments. That'd be a crazy. That'd be a great way to be able to help people out, right? But guess what? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not under this regime. I could assure you it's not going to happen. I could assure you that's not going to happen. It's too good of a solution. It's too helpful of a solution. And that's why it won't happen. Sorry. It's just the way it is. It really, really upsets me that a lot of times when things are driven to help people out, it's one-sided and not universally done. And the same thing goes out to a lot of the small business owners that are having a lot of troubles right now as well. They need to be helped as well. They need to be helped as well, especially the ones that have been under heavy restrictions and not having the opportunity to be able to operate the way they normally could when all their expenses are continuously going in. And you see how that's going to, how does that relate to the real estate market? Well, yeah, I'll tell you how it relates. Because if you took that suggestion I made, that solution I just made for everybody, where you halt or you freeze those interest rate hikes, it would not be passed down to the tenants of those small businesses that are trying to survive right now. Because I promise you, right now, what's happening, it's a domino thing. And I'm going to get animated for just 2 minutes because that's all I got left. And then the guy that's after me is going to call up and he's going to say, get off the damn radio. It's my turn. So I'm going to make it really, really quick. It's a domino effect. You affect the landlords, it affects the tenants. You affect the tenants, it affects the consumer market. Why? Because the expenses are going up all across the board. The rent's going up, the expenses are going up for the tenants. The expenses go up for the tenants, the price of the goods that they have to provide to the community is going up because they can't survive to sell it for any cheaper. And it doesn't matter what type of product we're selling. Again, we're going back full circle right now. We're going back to supply and demand. Economics 101. Super simple. Super, super simple. I don't know why a guy like me has to be the guy that points things out. There's a lot of other people that have a lot more experience and a lot more education than I do that should be pointing these out, but they choose not to. So maybe all it takes is somebody with a simple solution to put it out there, and maybe somebody listening, maybe some politician that hasn't been fully corrupted yet, maybe somebody out there in the hierarchy of the festering pool of corrupt politicians, maybe that one person, whether it's male or female, will be listening and actually do something to help the community overall. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm hoping, because I'm an eternal optimist. I hope. Trevor, you're a man of God. Say a prayer for us. Give us some hope. That's what we need. 100% true. How many properties do you own? Well, 100% true. I can give you a breakdown of what I own, but I will not at this moment, because I'm about to get kicked off the channel. But if you want to break down with properties and that kind of thing, I could talk about it. I have no fear. You know, and here's the other thing. I'm going to just say one more thing. No matter what you own as a landlord in this country, you never own it. Because if you don't pay property taxes, if you don't pay water bills, you don't pay any of that, you don't own it. They're taking it back. But on that note, you wanted me to get into it 100% true, jump on one of the future live streams. I'll be more than, I would love to discuss anything you like. But that being said, have a great week, everybody. I thank you so much for joining me on the Real Estate Plate. Have a great week. Make lots of money in real estate. We'll be back with you again next Monday, just like every single Monday, 6 to 7 p.m. on the Real Estate Plate. See you all next week.
This is WGBB AM 1240 and W240 GFFM 95.9 Freeport, New York.
I will talk about it.